Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get airborne with our Thursday market SITREP. We're getting to start our Analyze Your Trade session here at 1 o'clock Eastern. Have to actually take a look at a losing trade. We got a little bearish on China, and China came out last night our time, with some semi-decent inflation data, and unemployment rate was kind of fixed, but some relatively, I'd say, good news out of China propelled the FXI a little higher today, and that's going to impact one of our or a bear call spread for tomorrow. But we're going to debrief this losing trade at 1 o'clock for a very interesting reason. You can't trust the Chinese government numbers, especially in the middle of a massive trade war that they're hunkering down for a long trade fight. My buddy who runs a China desk at Goldman Sachs said, "Hey, Whiz, we just essentially came to the conclusion that they're back to lying in their numbers, whether it's GDP or anything like that. They're not going to show any weakness in this trade war. So mysteriously, when you can report economic data at the barrel of a gun, it usually ends up being a pretty good print. So that's my bad. I will take the hit on that. But we got to use our thinking brain on that, and there's a swing and a miss. So losing trades do happen, even though we've had a great run here with a lot of our trades, especially Amazon weekly trade and our accelerated retirement trade yesterday. We closed for a $2,500 gain in Amazon. So anyway, folks, strategically, one of the reasons we do strategic briefs in our live trade briefs is this: Saudi Arabia and Canada are in a little bit of a dust up. The Queen of Canada, Justin Trudeau, more or less was poking Saudi Arabia on human rights and a bunch of other stuff. And Saudi Arabia's like, are you kidding me, dude? They pulled their ambassador. They ordered all their sovereign wealth funds to dump Canadian assets. I mean, this is a big deal. Canadian markets are roiling. Oil. This is escalating diplomatic feud is poised to affect hundreds of millions of Canadian dollars of stocks, bonds, and cash. So some tactical folks who do a drive-by of Top Gun options sit here and go, "Why are you briefing me on this?" Because these have ripple effects. The Greek debt crisis, Putin invading Crimea. You name the world event. Iran, shooting at a freighter or something like that. These type of things. Just because you're not paying attention to it doesn't mean it's going on and it's not going to impact potentially world markets. Look at this. Worst collusion ever. So Donald Trump, apparently really loves this guy enough that he slammed even more sanctions on Russia for the poisoning of some Brits with selenium or whatever the hell the thing is. So Russia's not digging what we're throwing at them, and of course the left is silent. This should have been breaking news yesterday on all the liberal media, and it wasn't. Of course, it's about the Paul Manafort trial and how he spends, $10,000 on a jacket. Iran's still on edge. The sanctions are kicking in, and they're really starting to hit. It's unfortunate because that dude ain't gonna starve. Sanctions really do hit the people of the country, but in a tough love kind of way that says, "Hey, people, why don't you rise up and and get rid of these people?" Everybody remember last time the Iranian people rose up in the Green Revolution. Barack Hussein Obama did nothing. He supported the mullahs, but I digress. Still in the middle of a trade war, and China looks to be whistling past the graveyard, and this isn't impacting us at all, according to their data. But the market's still kind of drifting a little higher here. I called this Mount Everest yesterday. We've had a massive climb of the S&P 500 off this 50-day moving average at the beginning of July. In this past month, man, this has been a pretty serious rip your face off rally. Those end. They may not end dramatically like some of these. They might kind of dribble sideways and end a little bit, or they might fly right into the dirt. This is going to end, folks. At 1 o'clock today, we're going to get long volatility, really, really, really long volatility, because the VIX is plumbing, 1081. I think we got smashed down to whenever the low, 1070, whatever the low on the VIX is. This is retardedly stupid, cheap volatility, and it's time to get long. There's a lot of stuff out there that can reach out and touch us. But traders pile into bets that stock rally will continue. When you see a headline like this, that's when you know it's time to hedge. When the Wall Street Journal says, "Hey, everybody's jumping in the pool," that's when you start looking for a life ring. Oil prices are steady after a sharp fall. So we had some Saudi issues this week. We had a crude oil inventory report that was a little surprise to the downside. So we're doing some really good work in the XLE with our iron condors have closed two great iron condors on the XLE. Phenomenal looking trades on XLE. We're going to talk about oil today. So stocks are unched, little changed amid positive corporate earnings. Renewed trade tensions, there's the headline, folks, have sapped some of the market's enthusiasm. The trade war hasn't gone away, folks. Steve Mnuchin, Larry Kudlow, Peter Navarro, Manny Moe and Jack, they aren't talking to China. There are no adults, publicly at least, they're admitting to not talking. I mean, Larry Kudlow earlier this week or last week said, China's response to our tariffs was weak. 3 weeks ago, China said, hey, we're not just going to respond economically, but in other ways as well, which sounded a little creepy. So not good. So with all this potential bad out there, folks, are you ready to deploy new capital into this market and just go higher? I don't know too many fund managers or large institutions that are throwing a ton of capital at this moment. A lot of people are, I had a call the other day, the great way to look at it, hey, Whiz, we're looking for an excuse to bail and take some profits and maybe, retrace a little bit here. So the music's still going on, folks, but it's going to stop. And today at 1 o'clock, we're going to talk about having a chair when the musical chairs in this market stop. Real quick, if you want to join me today at 1 o'clock, you can take a 2-week test flight into every service that we do here for only $38 for the price of a really bad drink down here in Fort Lauderdale. You can get access into our 4 live trade briefs throughout the week, and also obviously the recordings. Because this afternoon we're also going to talk about J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan is it's back to being, or always was, my number one financial after I ditched Goldman, but it's back to life, man. Really loving what's going on with JP Morgan. We're going to laugh about Tesla. I think the man committed fraud and engaged in a criminal act the other day. The SEC, it was breaking news yesterday, is starting to poke around and ask questions about, the whole secured. They should have said, they said they requested some information. Hey, by 5 o'clock today, you need to show us in print everything that means secured funding and all the stuff you said in your tweet. I need to see the evidence of that by 5 o'clock today. I just can't believe the SEC isn't that. It ain't rocket surgery. The dude either has secured funding or he was lying to squeeze the shorts out, and that's fraud. That is a fraudulent state. The lawsuits are already lining up here. If you're a regular TGO member, sit tight, because if not, you're going to fall out of your chair. I am going to say the CEO of Twitter gets a salute from me. Over the past week, we've seen Apple, YouTube, Facebook ban conservative voices from their, like Alex Jones. He's a freak show, right-wing fringe guy, and InfoWars. Doesn't matter. But who is it? Apple, YouTube, all these guys ban them. And Senate Democrats this week are circulating plans for a government takeover of the internet to regulate speech. Are you kidding me? This idiot senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy, the survival of our democracy. It doesn't get any darker than that, right? Depends on what? Banning sites like InfoWars. So the Democrats, Berkeley, the birthplace of free speech, and the Democrats and free expression and this and that are now going after anything. And it's a little weird, isn't the timing? Right before the elections, they're shutting down all these conservative sites. Should make everybody furious, but it's not. Thank God for Jack Dorsey at Twitter. I will take my hat off and salute the guy, man. He's not going to succumb to outside pressure and ban this. He's allegedly committed to free speech. So, hey, man, that's shocking to me, and I salute you, Jack. Very well done, because I've been ripping you apart and other companies. You have to be very, very careful investing in the socially active companies, whether it's a Starbucks. Schultz, closes his stores down for an afternoon, loses 15 to 20 million bucks. Only a Democrat or a liberal CEO would say, hey, losing 15 million bucks is an investment. He turns his company into the world's largest restroom and needle exchange, and 2 weeks later leaves, and the stock implodes, 10-15% on announcing that they have to close a couple thousand stores because you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a Starbucks. Facebook, Apple, all these socially active companies, man, you're alienating about half of your base. You know who ain't doing that? Amazon, up another percent today, man. It's above 1,900. What did I predict a month ago, folks? We had an 1,800 bull put spread that we closed yesterday. 100 points higher than when we put it on. It even went down to like 1895 or 1795, and some of my members were like, "Oh, Wiz, what are we going to do?" I'm like, "In a month, this will be a $1,900 stock. It's August 9th. It's a $1,900 stock." I said this is easily a $2,000 stock by the end of next year, or by the end of this year, and $3,000 by the end of next year, folks. This is just the gift that keeps on giving. There's Wiz's call to dump all the socially active limousine liberal companies, and it's up 98%. If you would listen to me when I said dump Twitter, dump Facebook, dump Apple, you don't even want to look at the other charts compared to Amazon. Jeff Bezos is being as quiet as a church mouse. He's not gonna poke the bear, and he's not gonna alienate half his customer base. Plus, he's not dealing with conservative postings and all sorts of stuff. This guy's got a great business model. You need to be in Amazon and ditch this stuff. It's really, if Elon Musk and Donald Trump decided to get together and have a dinner and say, you know what, let's make our own Twitter where we don't block speech, or for conservatives, I think it would go out of business. I mean, it's just, so be careful investing in socially active CEOs, because the way how polarized our country is, you might end up getting kicked in the teeth when the stock corrects. Okay. Plus, they express all this fortitude, and we're great guys from the stage like Zuckerberg, and then of course we walk in the kitchen and turn the lights on, and it's full of roaches. Remember what Mark Zuckerberg called people when he was, at Harvard starting Facebook. His buddy asked him, "Hey, how'd you get all this data on everybody?" He's like, "They just gave it to me, a bunch of dumb FUC," and you can fill out. He called you a dumb F if you gave him your data. And you're going to tell me that tiger changed his stripes? Nope. All right, guys, I got to go. Head to go.topgunoptions.com/advanced. $38. Get airborne for 2 weeks. And come take a test drive into what we do, okay? I'll see you guys at 1 o'clock. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless.